Right now, your blood pressure could be putting silent stress on your kidneys, and you may not feel anything at all, because this kind of damage does not begin with pain, and it does not show up as a clear warning sign. It builds slowly in the background while you continue your daily routine thinking everything is completely normal. Most people believe that as long as their blood pressure is not extremely high, they are safe, but the reality is very different. Even slightly elevated blood pressure over time can begin to affect the tiny blood vessels inside your kidneys, and those vessels are responsible for filtering your blood every second of the day. Your kidneys are not just simple organs, they are part of a very precise system that keeps your body balanced. They remove waste, regulate fluids, and even help control your blood pressure itself, which means the moment your blood pressure starts going out of balance, your kidneys are one of the first organs to feel that pressure. Now imagine this, you wake up in the morning, you follow your normal routine, you have your breakfast, you drink your coffee or tea, you go about your day, everything feels fine, nothing feels dangerous, but inside your body your blood pressure may be rising more than it should, and your kidneys are adjusting to that pressure again and again. Over time, that repeated pressure begins to wear down the delicate filtration system inside your kidneys. The tiny vessels start losing their flexibility, the filtering process becomes less efficient, and waste that should be removed easily begins to stay in your system longer than it should. The most dangerous part of this process is that it happens without any clear symptoms in the early stages. You do not feel pain, you do not feel damage. You simply continue your routine while your body is slowly adapting to a level of stress that it was never designed to handle long term. And here is where it becomes even more serious, because there is one specific daily habit, something extremely common that most people never question, that can raise your blood pressure and at the same time put direct pressure on your kidneys. This is not something rare or complicated, it is something you see every day, something that feels completely normal, and in many cases something that is even marketed as a healthy choice, which is exactly why it becomes dangerous, because when something feels safe, you stop paying attention to it. You repeat it every day without thinking, and over time that repetition creates a pattern inside your body, a pattern that slowly increases, pressure affects your circulation and forces your kidneys to work harder than they should. This is how long-term damage begins, not from one extreme decision, but from small habits repeated consistently over time. Habits that seem harmless in the moment but create a constant internal load on your system. That is one of the main reasons why high blood pressure is considered one of the leading causes of kidney damage, because it is not just about a number you see on a machine, it is about what that number represents inside your body every single day. It reflects how much pressure your blood vessels are under, how much force your kidneys are dealing with, and how hard your filtration system is working to keep everything balanced. Now, the good news is that most of this damage is not immediate, and in the early stages it can be slowed down or even prevented, but only if you understand what is causing it and only if you take action before it becomes a serious problem. This does not require extreme changes or complicated routines. It starts with simple awareness, understanding what habits are affecting your blood pressure and how those same habits are influencing your kidney function at the same time. In this video, you are going to learn about the most common hidden habits that are quietly increasing your blood pressure and putting stress on your kidneys. These are things most people overlook completely, and that is why they continue doing them every day without realizing the impact. You will also understand what is happening inside your body when these habits repeat, how they affect your circulation, how they influence fluid balance, and why your kidneys are forced to compensate for that imbalance. And most importantly, you will learn simple practical steps that you can apply in your daily routine without making your life complicated. Small adjustments that can reduce pressure, support your kidneys, and improve your overall health over time. And at the end of this video, you are going to see the number one habit, the one that is causing the most damage right now in millions of people, the one that affects both blood pressure and kidney function at the same time. And there is a very strong chance that it is already part of your daily routine. So before you assume everything is fine, before you ignore that slightly high reading or think this is just part of getting older, take a moment and really think about your daily habits, because what feels normal is not always safe. And once you understand how blood pressure and kidney health are connected, you will start looking at your routine in a completely different way. Now let us begin with something very important, because once you understand the reason behind this, everything else becomes much clearer. Most people believe that kidney problems start suddenly or only happen when something goes seriously wrong, but that is not how it works in reality. This is a gradual process, and in most cases, it begins with something very common, something that almost everyone experiences at some point. That something is blood pressure. Your blood pressure is not just a number that shows up during a checkup, it is a constant force moving through your blood vessels every second of the day and night, and that force directly affects your kidneys more than most people realize. Your kidneys are filled with millions of tiny filtering units, and inside those units are extremely small and delicate blood vessels. These vessels are responsible for cleaning your blood, removing waste, and maintaining balance in your body. But here's the key idea: these vessels are not built to handle constant high pressure. When your blood pressure stays elevated even slightly over time, it begins to push against these delicate structures again and again, and slowly, that pressure starts to cause damage. At first, nothing feels different. You go through your day as usual, your energy feels normal, your routine stays the same, and there is no clear sign that something is wrong. But inside your body, those tiny vessels are starting to lose their flexibility. They are becoming thicker and less efficient, and that change affects how well your kidneys can filter your blood. Now imagine this happening, not just for a few days, but for months and even years. That repeated pressure builds strain inside your kidneys, and over time your filtration system becomes weaker. Waste products begin to stay in your blood longer, and your body has to work harder to maintain balance. This is how the process begins, quietly, slowly, and without any warning signs in the early stages. Now here is something most people do not realize. Your kidneys are not just affected by blood pressure, they actually help control it. They regulate fluid levels, they release hormones that influence how your blood vessels behave, and they play a direct role in keeping your blood pressure stable. So when your kidneys are under stress, your blood pressure can rise further, and when your blood pressure rises, it puts even more pressure on your kidneys. This creates a cycle, a loop that continues unless something changes. Now think about your daily routine. What you eat, what you drink, how often you move, and how your day is structured, all of these things influence your blood pressure. And many of these habits feel completely normal because they are common because everyone around you is doing the same thing. But normal does not always mean safe. Now imagine this. You wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is reach for coffee without giving your body time to hydrate properly. Your system starts the day slightly dehydrated, and your blood vessels respond by tightening, which can increase pressure. Then you move through your day sitting for long periods with very little movement. Your circulation slows down, your body becomes less efficient at managing fluids, and your blood pressure may stay elevated for longer periods. Then comes your food choices, meals that contain hidden sodium or refined carbohydrates that quickly affect your blood sugar and your blood pressure at the same time. Each of these things on their own may not seem serious, but when they are repeated every single day, they create a pattern. And that pattern is what your body responds to. Your kidneys are constantly adapting to what you do. They adjust to your habits, they compensate for your routine, and when that routine consistently puts pressure on your system, your kidneys have no choice but to handle that load. Now here is something very important to understand. Your body is incredibly good at adapting. It can handle stress for a period of time, it can adjust, it can compensate, and it can continue functioning even when conditions are not ideal. But that does not mean there is no damage happening. It simply means the damage is being delayed. And this is why so many people feel fine until they suddenly do not, because the body has been managing the problem silently for a long time. Now let us go a little deeper. Because blood pressure is not only affected by one thing, it is influenced by multiple factors working together. Your hydration, your movement, your diet, your stress levels, and your daily habits all play a role. When these factors are balanced, your body functions smoothly, your blood pressure stays within a healthy range, and your kidneys are able to do their job efficiently. But when even a few of these factors start to shift in the wrong direction, your system begins to feel that imbalance. Now imagine improving just one of these areas. For example, drinking water at the right time instead of waiting until you feel thirsty. Your body stays better hydrated, your blood flow becomes more stable, and your kidneys are able to filter waste more effectively. Or adding simple movement throughout your day, standing up, walking for a few minutes, improving circulation, helping your body manage fluids more efficiently. These small changes may seem simple, but they have a direct impact on how your system functions. Now here is the key idea from this part. Kidney stress and blood pressure are deeply connected, and in many cases the damage begins with everyday habits that go unnoticed. It is not about one extreme action, it is about patterns repeated over time. And once you begin to notice those patterns, you can start to change them. Because awareness is always the first step. Now take a moment and think about your own routine. What do you do first thing in the morning? How do you manage your fluids? How active are you during the day? What kind of foods are part of your daily habits? Because the answers to these questions are directly connected to how your blood pressure behaves and how much stress your kidneys are under. And this is where real change begins, not by doing everything at once, but by understanding what is happening and making small adjustments that your body can respond to over time. In the next part, we are going to move into something even more practical. We are going to break down the specific habits that are causing the most pressure on your blood pressure and your kidneys. Simple things that you can identify and adjust without confusion, because once you know exactly what to look for, taking action becomes much easier. And that is where real improvement starts. Now let us move into something practical, because understanding the connection between blood pressure and kidney health is important, but knowing what is actually causing that pressure is what really helps you take control. Most people think that serious damage only comes from extreme habits, but in reality it often starts with very simple everyday patterns that go completely unnoticed. And the first one is something that sounds harmless but has a direct impact on both your blood pressure and your kidneys. That is chronic dehydration. Now think about this. As you go through your day, how often do you actually drink plain water, not tea, not coffee, not soft drinks, but real water? Many people believe that as long as they are drinking something, they are hydrated, but that is not how your body works. Your kidneys depend on proper fluid levels to maintain stable blood flow and to filter waste efficiently. When your body does not get enough water, your blood becomes slightly more concentrated and your blood vessels respond by tightening, which can increase blood pressure. At the same time, your kidneys receive less fluid to work with, which makes filtration less efficient and forces your system to work harder. This is not something you feel immediately. There is no sudden warning, no strong signal. But over time, that daily lack of hydration creates a pattern where your blood pressure stays slightly elevated and your kidneys are constantly under mild stress. Now imagine repeating that every single day, week after week, month after month. That small stress begins to add up and your body slowly adapts to a condition that is not ideal. Now here is something even more important. Many people rely heavily on coffee or tea, especially in the morning, without drinking water first. Caffeine can act as a mild diuretic, which means it can increase fluid loss, and if your day starts without proper hydration, your system begins at a deficit. That deficit affects your circulation, your blood pressure, and your kidney function all at the same time. Now, the solution is not complicated. It is simply about timing. Drinking water early in the day before anything else and maintaining consistent intake instead of waiting until you feel thirsty. Because thirst is not always an accurate signal, especially as your body gets older. Now let us move to the second factor, because this one is even more common and affects millions of people without them realizing it. Hidden sodium. Most people believe that reducing salt means avoiding the salt shaker, but that is only a small part of the problem. The majority of sodium people consume does not come from what they add to their food. It comes from what is already inside processed and packaged items. Foods that do not even taste salty can still contain high levels of sodium. Bread, cereals, canned foods, sauces, frozen meals, and even items that are marketed as healthy often carry significant amounts. Now think about what happens inside your body when sodium levels are high. Your body tries to maintain balance by holding on to more water, and that increases the volume of blood flowing through your vessels. More volume means more pressure, and that pressure directly affects your blood pressure levels. At the same time, your kidneys have to work harder to remove the excess sodium and manage the fluid balance. This creates a double effect. Your blood pressure rises and your kidneys are placed under additional stress. Now imagine consuming these hidden sources of sodium multiple times a day. Breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner. Even if each item seems reasonable on its own, the total adds up quickly. And because it is hidden, most people never question it. They assume they are eating normally. They assume they are doing the right thing, but inside their body, the pressure continues to build. Now, here is something very important to understand. High sodium intake does not always create immediate symptoms. You may not feel anything different, but your blood vessels are experiencing increased pressure and your kidneys are constantly working to compensate. Over time, this becomes a pattern that contributes to long-term damage. Now, the key idea here is awareness, not extreme restriction, but simply paying attention. Reading labels, noticing sodium levels, and becoming aware of how often processed foods are part of your routine. Because once you notice it, you can start making small changes, choosing alternatives, reducing frequency, and allowing your body to function in a more balanced way. Now, when you combine these two factors, dehydration and hidden sodium, you begin to see a pattern. One reduces fluid availability, the other increases fluid retention. Both affect blood pressure, both place stress on your kidneys, and both are part of everyday habits that most people never question. Now take a moment and think about your own routine. How often do you start your day without water? How often do you rely on packaged or processed foods? Because the answers to these questions are directly connected to how your body is functioning right now. And the important thing to remember is this: you do not need to change everything at once. You just need to start noticing, because once you become aware of these patterns, you can begin to adjust them step by step. And even small adjustments can create noticeable changes over time. In the next part, we are going to go deeper into some of the most overlooked causes, things that many people rely on every day without realizing the impact they have on both blood pressure and kidney health. And once you understand those factors, your ability to protect your health becomes much stronger. Now let us go deeper into something that many people rely on every single day without thinking twice, and that is the use of common pain relief medications. For many people, especially as they get older, some level of pain becomes part of daily life, whether it is joint pain, back discomfort, or long-standing aches that never fully go away. So reaching for a painkiller feels normal. It feels like a simple solution, and for occasional use, it may not seem like a problem. But when this becomes a daily habit, it can start to affect your body in ways most people never realize. Certain types of pain relievers work by blocking specific signals in your body that are responsible for inflammation and pain, but those same signals also play an important role in maintaining proper blood flow to your kidneys. When those signals are blocked repeatedly, your kidney function can be affected because blood flow to the filtering units may reduce. This means your kidneys are not receiving the support they need to work efficiently, and over time this can place additional stress on the system. At the same time, these medications can also influence how your body manages fluids, which can contribute to changes in blood pressure. So what seems like a simple solution for pain can quietly create pressure on both your kidneys and your blood pressure when used regularly without proper awareness. Now, this does not mean you should avoid all medication. It simply means understanding how often you are using it and being aware of the long-term effects, especially if it has become part of your daily routine. Now let us move to another factor that is even more hidden and affects a large number of people without them realizing it. That is the presence of certain additives in processed foods. When you look at packaged food, most people focus on calories, sugar, or fat, but very few pay attention to the ingredient list, especially the parts that are harder to understand. Many processed foods contain additives that are used to improve taste, texture, or shelf life, and while they serve a purpose in food production, they can also affect how your body handles certain minerals. Your kidneys are responsible for maintaining balance in your body, including the regulation of different substances that enter your bloodstream. When your body is exposed to high levels of certain additives, your kidneys have to work harder to filter and manage those substances. This creates an additional load on your system, especially when these foods are consumed regularly. At the same time, some of these additives can indirectly influence blood pressure by affecting how your body manages fluids and circulation. Now imagine consuming these foods throughout your day without thinking about what is inside them. It becomes part of your routine, something automatic, something familiar. But over time, your kidneys are constantly processing these substances, and your system is continuously adapting to that load. Now let us move to the most important part, because there is one factor that connects everything we have talked about so far, and that is the regular intake of refined sugars and highly processed carbohydrates. This is not just about desserts or obvious sweet foods. It includes everyday items like white bread, cereals, flavored drinks, packaged snacks, and many foods that people consider normal parts of their diet. When you consume these foods, your body breaks them down quickly and releases sugar into your bloodstream at a fast rate. This causes a rapid increase in blood sugar, which triggers a response from your body to manage that spike. Over time, repeated spikes can begin to affect how your body regulates energy and how it responds to insulin. And this process has a direct impact on your blood pressure. Because as your system becomes less efficient at handling these spikes, your blood vessels can be affected and your blood pressure may begin to rise. At the same time, your kidneys are working to filter excess substances from your blood and maintain balance. When this pattern continues for a long period, your kidneys are placed under constant stress. Now here is the key idea. This is not about one single food or one single decision. It is about patterns repeated over time. Small habits that feel normal but gradually create pressure inside your body. And when those habits continue without awareness, the effect becomes stronger. Now take a moment and look at everything we have covered. Hydration, sodium, medication, food quality, and daily habits, all of these are connected. They all influence your blood pressure, and they all affect how your kidneys function. And the most important thing to understand is that you are not powerless in this process. Because every habit can be adjusted, every pattern can be improved, and even small changes can create a meaningful difference over time. Now imagine making a few simple adjustments. Drinking water at the right time, paying attention to sodium, being aware of how often you rely on certain medications, choosing foods that support your body instead of adding extra load. These are not extreme changes. They are practical steps that fit into your daily life. And when you apply them consistently, your body begins to respond. Your system becomes more balanced, your blood pressure becomes more stable, and your kidneys are able to function more efficiently. Now here is the most important takeaway. Your health is shaped by what you do every day. Not by one perfect decision, but by consistent choices over time. So instead of waiting for a problem to appear, you can start making those changes today. Because the earlier you act, the more control you have over your future health. And if this information helped you understand something new, take a moment to share it with someone who might benefit from it as well. Because sometimes a small piece of awareness at the right time can make a big difference in someone's life. Now let us bring everything together in a simple and clear way. Because by now you have seen something very important. The damage to your kidneys does not come from one sudden event. It comes from patterns. It comes from daily habits that slowly create pressure inside your body. Your blood pressure, your hydration, your food choices, your movement, and even the things you take for quick relief, all of these are connected. They are not separate issues, they work together, and your body responds to the overall pattern you create every single day. Now imagine continuing the same routine without any awareness. The same habits, the same timing, the same choices repeated again and again. At first nothing feels different, everything seems normal, but inside your body the pressure continues to build. Your blood vessels stay under strain, your kidneys keep working harder, and over time that silent stress turns into real damage. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine becoming aware of your routine. Not in a complicated way, not by changing everything at once, but by simply noticing. When do you drink water? What do you eat most often? How active are you during the day? How often do you rely on quick solutions without thinking about long-term effects? Because once you start noticing these patterns, something changes. You are no longer guessing. You are no longer repeating habits automatically. Now you are making intentional choices, and those small choices begin to shape a different outcome. Now think about this. Your body does not need perfection. It does not expect you to change everything overnight. What it responds to is consistency. Small improvements repeated over time. Drinking water at the right time. Reducing hidden sodium. Being more mindful of what you eat. Moving your body regularly. Paying attention to how often you rely on certain medications. These are simple steps, but they create a powerful shift inside your system. Over time, your blood pressure becomes more stable. Your circulation improves. Your kidneys are no longer under constant stress. And your body begins to function in a more balanced way. Now here is something very important to remember. You may not see immediate results. You may not feel a dramatic change in a single day. But that does not mean nothing is happening. Because just like damage builds slowly, improvement also builds slowly. Every small change you make is moving your body in a better direction. Now imagine where you could be a few months from now. If you start today, if you stay consistent, if you pay attention to the patterns that matter, because the difference between decline and improvement is not one big decision. It is the direction you choose to follow every day. Now before we end this, take a moment and ask yourself one simple question. What is one habit you can adjust starting today? It does not need to be everything, just one. Because one small change leads to another, and over time those changes become your new routine. Now, if this video helped you understand something that you did not realize before, then do not keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might need this information. A family member, a friend, someone who may be dealing with blood pressure, or simply trying to take better care of their health. Because awareness only helps when it reaches the right person at the right time. And if you want to keep learning simple, practical ways to protect your health, then make sure you stay connected. Because the more you understand how your body works, the easier it becomes to take control of it. Your kidneys are working for you every single day. Now it is your turn to start working for them.